what it's called. The Word.
The word,
The
the word,
Word.
the word. I am Eric James,
I am Clay Morris.
and our partner Magic is making some adjustments, but he's on the air as well.
He's under air somewhere. We're going to find him. Right.
Let's, let's
Magic. We're
start
going to
off with
find him.
some prayer. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about
Let's
it.
do some prayer here.
Lord, we thank you for this day, Father. We thank you for life, health, and strength, Father. We thank you for allowing us to be on that wake up list on this morning, Father. Lord, we thank you for forgiveness, Father, forgiving us for our sins on a daily basis, Father. For we know we have our ups and we have our downs, but we thank you in advance for all that has been done and all that's going to be done, Father. We thanking you for leading the way, keeping us on the narrow way, Father. Lord, we ask that you will bless the stream, brother, Father. Bless the airways as we talk and just enjoy our day talking about sports in a positive way. We give you all honor. We give you all the praise in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Well, I don't know how positive we can be after the end of the Patriots Dynasty just occurred. Episodes 9 and 10 dropped yesterday, and so that was it. We watched them, and it was bittersweet. There were some good moments, and then there was just moments that made my stomach sick.
But it showed a lot of why I I can't even answer this. Why this interview built up on him because he had so much. But
Yeah, the anger built. You know what? It's just something wrong with that guy. It's something wrong with the guy with the amount of control that he wanted over other people's lives. I can understand when it comes to, and specifically, but we're talking about Tom Brady, and specifically Tom Brady, but also there were other players that this also affected. That okay, gone to here, Richard Seymour, Mike Vrabel, but on down the line, and this comes to a head when Tom Brady wins that Super Bowl with against the Falcons, coming back from 28-3. But people think this, that was the turning point. It wasn't, because we have a situation where, Randy Moss asked Bill Belichick to speak on the matter of what Tom Brady just did in that 28-3 comeback. And he barely mentions Tom Brady during that speech. That what he makes, he talks about the team grinding, some making a play and another play. He doesn't even mention Tom Brady to the end. He says Tom kept grinding. My thing is that, okay, I'm just going to leave it there because I'm going to come back to this point at another time. But Bill Belichick need for control ruined that organization.
well, at that point, I believe because he couldn't trade Brady and move Garoppolo in, he took it personal, and he couldn't let it go. He just couldn't let it go. So his anger not only was towards Brady, but it was towards the other guys as well. So everybody was feeling that gripe that he was throwing at them, and even when they thought they had a great game and was doing well, um, he was still going at them hard, going at him hard. So a- as time went on, his anger just took the best of him as far as Belichick. But now Brady got to a point where he got tired of it.
He got tired, and that's the changing point in the whole dynamic. Brady had ran with this and allowed Belichick to behave in this fashion, totally dictatorial, totally over the top, totally being a total jerk in most cases. Brady still managed it and said, okay. But there came a point in time when Brady had had enough. And I think it was then, but it was also before then, because you could see the way Belichick was talking. When I say then, I'm talking about that 28-3 comeback against Atlanta. We could say it was then, but actually it was before then, because Belichick had already started treating Tom Brady even worse than he used to treat him before. Now, I think he treated him bad, but I think he started treating him worse. And it showed after that Super Bowl when he didn't even want to mention Tom Brady's name. And that's before the Alex Guerrero and everything else controversy.
So let's real quick. A toll-free number is 844-249-5247. That's 844-249-5247 if you want to chime in. We're talking about the dynasty, the ending of the dynasty, 9 and 10. And we'll be talking about some other things as we go along. But yeah, and Brady started realizing that, you know what, there's nothing I can do to please this guy.
Right.
You know, there's nothing I can do. So he just stopped listening. So think about it. You got a quarterback that's been with you for 20 years. He knows.
Let's just say 15 at this time.
Let's say 15,
It's
16.
still enough. 15,
Right,
20.
right.
What does it matter?
So at this point, he's already past the average quarterback
Right.
in how long they would play and start. So he knows just about everything the coach is going to tell him. So what can Belichick tell him when you come to the sideline? So they show him one of those clips, go to the sideline, and Belichick's trying to tell him something, and he just walks away.
He just walks away. Now, the deal is that Tom had become too powerful in the sense that he was a winner. And Belichick couldn't handle Tom being a winner. I mean, this sounds ridiculous to say this, but it's true.
Yeah, the relationship just got very sour.
They talk about toxic, and I always think that's a terrible word, but if toxic fits any relationship, it would be the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady relationship. After Tom Brady had been on the team 10 years, had won 3 Super Bowls, taken him to 2 other Super Bowls, and had fairly established himself because Belichick liked to be able to treat players any way he wanted to.
Yeah, and then get rid of him. Magic, are you in yet? Still can't hear Magic.
You can't hear
Still
him.
Can't hear Magic.
Let's see what we got.
So, you know, so he was a control freak.
A total control freak. I think that, and you know what? That about sums it up. More than anything else, Bill Belichick was a control freak over the top.
Yeah, because he had all the control. He was a coach. He was the general manager.
Ridiculous.
And Kraft had to step in to say, "Hey, you're not going to trade Brady."
And this was after Kraft awarded Brady a contract. Now, everyone forgets this. It's 2016. Belichick was not going to sign Brady. He didn't offer him a contract. Robert Kraft had to step in while he was at a combine in Indianapolis. Robert Kraft stepped in, brought John Yee and Brady in, and sat down and started the contract talks and made Belichick come back from the combine to start taking care of that situation. So I think we're in. Magic, are you in? He's gone again. But to make Belichick come in and take care of that situation. So he signs Tom Brady over the objection of Bill Belichick, and that starts to decline too. So what is that? 2004, 2015, 2016.
Yeah. So at that point, not only is Belichick angry, but Belichick is at a point where he's over the top, where he's cussing everybody out. Magic, you in with us yet?
I'm here. I can see you guys.
Yeah, we can hear you now, brother. We can hear you now.
Before we bring you in, we're going to give everybody the number again. The number is 844-249-5247, 844-249-5247. If you want to call in and collaborate on what we're talking
jump
about.
Right on in. So I've been listening to you guys. I've been trying to talk, but you guys couldn't see or hear me. But I was listening to you guys, and you guys are definitely on track. We've been watching that whole, this whole thing unfold. I think this is what episode 9 we're talking about now. Is it? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're looking at this guy who had gone from, they won the first 3 Super Bowls, and then he thought he can do it on his own, and then he started coming in and saying, "Okay, I'm going to start bringing in my own guys as long as they can follow my system." And then you started bringing in, lesser talent at the wideout position or whatever. And Brady just kept pushing on. He kept whatever he had at his disposal, he did the best with it. And it just wasn't enough to get through a couple of those seasons between their last one was 02, 04, and they didn't win another one until,
geez. I think it was 2014 or 2015. Yeah.
Now they had gotten to the AFC Championship quite regularly, and they got to a couple of Super Bowls. And what he felt like, my defense is what did it. When they got beat by the Giants, but he was thinking my defense did it, and so he started acting like, you know what? He became a Parcells protege to the T. He was talking to those guys like they were beneath him, you know. But you know, that's a big boy sport. Get over it. But you could clearly see that he was not happy with the shine that Brady was getting as this train was moving on, and he tried to trump him in just every opportunity they could.
Right. Right. He tried to undermine Brady every opportunity he could. And it took a while for Tom to find out. I mean, to catch on to this. But eventually he did. Eventually he caught on to the fact that, Belichick was grinning in his face, was stabbing him in his back every chance he could.
Yeah, so Tom would be just totally angry during practice, during the game, but he put it all out on the field.
Which shows how great he was. Which goes to my thing. I always said that Tom went in spite of Bill Belichick, and he went and won with Bruce Arians. He could have won with practically any coach who was halfway competent. He could have won with.
But again, you look at the tenure and the years that they spent in there together, and it's just not normal. You haven't seen any other team that went that long with the fixture of Brady and Belichick was, the two main fixtures, and some other guys stayed, you went through Seymour, but when they sat Butler down, that was another changing point.
Oh, gosh.
When everybody's like, why is he not playing? We're losing, and he's still not playing. What's going on?
I don't think there's any defense for Bill Belichick. I mean, at this time, the way he treated Brady, the way he treated Butler, the way he put himself before the team. And we can't say his defense was all that, because his defense got beat by the Giants twice.
Yeah.
I mean, so this whole thing, this whole aura of Bill Belichick is totally made up, guys. It's totally made up. He was just a half-decent coach, okay? Brady could have won with anybody. As a matter of fact, if he had had a more personable coach, they probably would have won 10 to 12 Super Bowls, because all you had to do was put a halfway decent team out on the field.
Again, I always like your energy, but I beg to differ. I mean, listen, as much as it was revealed during this thing, we all saw the same thing, and we all know the same thing. But I do believe that, just because the guy was who he was didn't mean that he didn't have a significant value to what he was trying to deliver. I mean, I think that he was totally committed to what he was committed to, and that was doing things the way he wanted to do it. I think there was a lot of value that he brought. If you ask me, it's no longer 50-50. I mean, Brady clearly is the more dominant figure in this whole thing, because he had to cooperate through it, all that nonsense. But
yes,
but here's what happens though. It's like building blocks. As they built together, Brady surpassed him.
yes.
Okay, so you can't not give Bill, his due. He did a good job when he was doing his job, but then when he went off to this control feature, which happened pretty quickly, then Brady kind of continued to excel. But he wouldn't have excelled, with just any old body. He needed that controversy to keep his anger and his strength going. Because he even got to the point where he got this masseuse, that was doing him better than the doggone weight room trainer. So now Brady's pissed at that. So now he don't want to do it on the field. He don't want to do it on the plane. This is the guy that keeps your quarterback on the field.
The guy had been given to him by Willie McGinnis. Willie McGinnis, a longtime Patriots mainstay, had turned Tom Brady on to Alex Guerrero. And this is the whole thing that starts it. But now Belichick wants so much control. Now, and guys, you guys keep trying to give Belichick. I'm going to strip it all down. They wouldn't have won those last 3 Super Bowls had it been up to Bill Belichick, because he wanted to get rid of Tom Brady, and that was the point I was going to go to earlier. Back in 2016, he didn't want to sign Tom Brady. He wanted to get rid of him. No, 2014, he wanted to get rid of him, and that's before they won the last 3 Super Bowls. He thought he was going to win with Garoppolo.
But listen, you're still losing the fact there was building that happened up until that point. So prior to that point, they worked well together. But after he got to the point where he thought he was the guy, that's where they made separate. So you got to give him his due early on. So yeah, he did well early on, but then he changed.
You know what? I'm kind of wondering about that early on, but you go for it, Magic.
I mean,
you go for it,
Clay. I mean, we hear what you're saying. We definitely respect that whole mindset of Bill Belichick was only, a cog in this whole, thing that's spent. We get that. We totally get it. And I totally agree. The last three would not have been won with just anybody at the helm. Though, like they said, they Belichick coached, but they played for Brady, right? So they got the last three, no doubt about it. I think.
Would have been 4 if he had to play Malcolm Butler.
Yeah. I mean, well, listen, there's probably some out there.
I mean, we can't keep giving this guy a free pass on this.
We're not giving
We're not giving him a free pass. Belichick, he deserves his credit where the credit is due. We're not going to strip him where the credit's due. But what we're saying is that we know that Brady was the main reason why some of those games were won. But you got to realize too, there's people out there that believe that just you thought there should have been 4, but there's a lot of folks out there that say the Patriots should only have had maybe 1 because.
Yeah, but they're crazy. Those guys are delusional. Those guys are just Patriot haters, and they can't stand the fact that the Patriots had such a great team. A great
There's still facts of the matter is that every Super Bowl they were in had a play gone this way or that way. They could have either had 11 or they could have had 2. That's just how it worked.
No, I beg to differ.
Well, David.
Well, I know that 28-3 one, everything had to go right, but then again, you got Tom Brady. It's like having Patrick Mahomes. Guys, to me, it's the same. I'm watching the same thing here. And I guarantee you, I know this is going to, rub a lot of people along the way. If Andy Reid stays upright, if Andy Reid stays on the top side of this earth for the next 10 years, that record's going to be broken easily.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more than. I think it's going to be more than 6. But
yeah, I think it's going to be more than 6 because you actually got a coach who cares about his freaking quarterback and his players. And he works with them. He doesn't try to screw him and stab him in the back every chance he gets.
Right, but we know that's not going to happen because the Patriots caught lightning in a bottle. It's hard to keep these players long enough to get there. It's harder.
The main thing is the quarterback.
I get it, but we cannot take away. Now we know that Bill Belichick has flaws in his drafting, but
when it comes to drafting,
he also found over the last 10 years, he found a lot of players that played well. He found Devin McCourty. Devin McCourty was a mainstay. He was a good pick. We got to give him his credits where the credit is due. You can't just strip him of everything because you just don't like what he did. But we got to give the guy some credit. But we know that Brady bears, he's the main reason there's 6 trophies in Foxborough. I mean, I give you that. But we're not
75% of the reason.
Hey, not only 6, but he went and got 1 more. So for him, he got 7.
So I mean, listen, we talked about all this stuff, but you know what's funny? A glaring absence of this whole thing. Nobody hears from Matt Patricia, right? These defenses that were supposed to be so great, and what got him coaching jobs.
Head coach job at Detroit.
But nobody really hears. Have we seen Matt Patricia at all?
No, there's been no Matt Patricia.
Glaring silence, isn't it?
Well, along with Belichick.
Well, did Mangini say anything? It was Eric Mangini because he was the guy who used to be a assistant with Bill Belichick. Went to the Jets. So that's the whole Spygate thing. There was Joe Judge. I don't hear any Joe Judge thing.
Yeah,
he went and bombed with the Giants. I mean,
listen. So, quick note: Matt Patricia was hired by Philadelphia Eagles as a senior defensive assistant during the 2023 season.
No wonder they lost. No wonder they lost.
Going on in that locker room. There's a lot of cultural issues going on that rose to the top of the Eagles, just like the Cowboys. They got issues in the locker room. He couldn't fix it. So
differences in the Eagles locker room.
In the Eagles locker room, they got some challenges in there, no doubt about it. I mean, that team they literally lost 6 out of their last 7 games. That's a cultural issue. It wasn't talent.
They didn't even lose. They melted down.
Complete meltdown.
They just had a meltdown because there was no reason why Philadelphia shouldn't have done better than they did.
Well, I really would like to talk about it, but we're still talking about the Patriots. As much as I was about to step right through that door and ask about these things, I know where it would have gone. The next 15, 20 minutes would have been about Philadelphia, and I
We're
don't
still
want to talk
tying
about
it into the Matt Patricia thing. He wasn't what he thought they was, just like Josh wasn't who they thought he was when he went out to the Raiders. All those listen, Bill Belichick controlled so much that he duped other teams into thinking that this guy was who he was, but it really was Bill Belichick.
Oh, you think
And
so?
the
I think it was Tom
proof is
Brady.
in the pudding.
I think it's Tom Brady.
I think it was a combination.
Tom Brady didn't play defense.
Yeah, but he made that defense want to play defense.
That defense, but a lot of players can't win throughout that. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, when you have a guy out there like Tom Brady and you're playing defense, and you're just thinking, if I can get the ball back to this guy, come on, guys, we gotta dig in here. We gotta do something. When you got a lousy, soup-cooled quarterback, you're not out there trying that hard because you know this guy's not going to do anything when he gets the ball. But when you got Tom Brady out there, you play above and beyond what you can usually do. And guys, that's the truth.
Okay, but the
key is
the real truth of the matter is, I've been saying this all along, is that this horrible team that just got off this past season, they played as hard as they could play. They lacked talent. They still played. They were competitive in a lot of those.
They didn't lack talent.
They were competitive in a lot of those games. I don't know, Eric James. What do you think about this season that just recently passed? Were they blown out of those games?
No, not necessarily.
Well, they were blown out when they played.
They was not. They was undercoached. They was undercoached.
It was 38.
They was undercoached.
What, they beat
there was
38
no
to
connection.
5 or something?
Yeah, but how many games was that?
Both games.
But they wasn't properly coached this year. I don't think. I think Belichick had already lost it.
Yep.
He could not connect with players anymore, and because he couldn't, he almost ruined Matt Jones.
He did ruin
the
it.
best thing for Mac Jones was to get out of here.
Yeah.
You don't need to stay here no more because our fans are so passionate that if he come back into another season and he does like he did last season, nobody's going to want to say. I mean, they're going to boo him right off the doggone field. So it's better for him to do a new stop. But last year was just a meltdown of Belichick. You know, he was so frustrated that his connection just wasn't there with people.
I think he had to eat the soup that he
created.
He had to eat the soup that he could. You knew you didn't have talent, dude. You went and got Jabril Peppers because he was he was a discount. But Jabril Peppers, he's a good NFL player, but he's not the guy, not the splash on defense that team needed. And he was heard saying how bad they were to an opponent. You know, and I don't know if you guys heard that, but they heard him doing one of the, at the end of the game, and he was like, "Yeah, man, we're pretty bad." You know what I
mean? Well, they are bad, but it's not because they didn't have talent. They had Uche, they had Gacho, they had Onawa. They had a lot of guys up front, and they had everybody stacked on their defense. And everyone wants to say that they didn't have talent on their defense. That's all he drafted was defensive guys. He went out and drafted defensive guys. This was his talent, and they were talented, but they were a terrible team because there was no morale, because there was nobody to play for. Nobody was playing for Bill Belichick.
There was no offense. That team averaged 16 points, I think. And that's only because they got over 27, like 2 games or something like that. That team couldn't put any points up.
They could. Well,
that's
coaching.
You know that's the truth. They could not put any points up.
Well, that's coaching.
Even when the defense had a good game, they couldn't put no points up.
The lack of talent.
There's no lack of talent on that team.
None.
And you know what? I would defend that. I would defend that for the next 20 years or 30 years, as long as I live, because that's just an excuse. That was just an excuse because he went 4-13. And when he started off losing, that became their excuse that the media put out for him and stuck it on the wall for him. There was a lack of talent. Okay. He went out and spent $350 million 2 years before that in the free agent draft, not even the draft. And they said it was a lack of talent. That's total bullcrap.
Okay, but you again, like I said, I always appreciate your passion, but I question your knowledge. You know,
he didn't spend $300 million 2 years before that. He did. He went on free agency and spent $300 million in free agency. Nobody said anything then.
He absolutely did, but we're talking about this last year, and you agree that Mac Jones wasn't talented.
I didn't say that.
You don't agree? Okay,
No.
so you thought they should have put up more points.
Mac Jones is talented, but when your offensive coordinators are defensive guys, when they give you Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, and everything is dysfunctional in that freaking place because of Bill Belichick, everyone gets the blame but Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick made it dysfunctional. He screwed it all up. He spent the money. They had talent, but now the whole thing is screwed up because you know why? I'm going to tell you why. He didn't want Mac Jones.
Okay, I mean, but either way, you had Mac Jones who couldn't put up any points. Then you go to Zappy, but yet they had talent.
And with Zappy, why is Zappy there? If you think that Mac Jones doesn't have any talent, why would you resign Zappy? Why didn't you go out and get a quarterback? Unless you're trying to sabotage him.
I agree, but there was no talent on offense.
No, there's talent there. There was talent. He mismanaged it. That's Bill Belichick.
Okay.
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, he brought in Ezekiel Elliott.
Was that Jabari Parker? He had Kendrick Bourne. He had Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah. Henry Hunter. He had Jonnu Smith. Didn't even use him. Spent I don't know how many $1 million on Jonnu Smith. Didn't use him. Okay. We keep giving this guy an exit. I'm gonna give him an exit out. I'm gonna give him an exit out right down the fire escape. That's where he should go. Okay. You guys overrated this chump. That's what he is. Okay. He wouldn't have won anything without Brady. He was a loser before Brady. He was a loser after Brady.
I got you, man. I'm not going to continue to try to defend him because I don't have that much admiration for him to defend him, but I think he deserves some credit.
I think we put a nail in that coffin.
We might have to put a hammer in the nail. And the nail. Again, the toll-free line, 844-249-5247. 844-249-5247. Now, are there any Bill Belichick defenders out there who would like to jump in here? You know what? I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to let you talk to my colleagues here to make it easier. I won't say anything about Bill Belichick. I won't say nothing.
If that was possible, Clay.
Yeah, but you know, I think I mean, even though we oppose what he's saying, there's a lot of folks that feel the way you do because he hasn't gotten the job.
Mike Vrabel was hired as a defensive consultant for some team.
But I bet you he turned down a lot too because he ain't trying to be anything less than a coach.
Listen,
they probably wanted him for an offensive coordinator or maybe a defensive coordinator or maybe a broom guy or a mop guy.
Ball boy. They're not hiring you for no job.
I don't want to. He's like, and he grumbles so much nobody don't know what he's saying anyway.
And wait a minute. I guarantee you when they say, Bill, we're not going to offer you the head coach. We're going to offer you the head coordinator. Bill looked at him. We talked about this already.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
No. General manager? Maybe. Nope.
We talked about this. The same way he did the interviewer when he didn't want to answer a question. Interviewer said to him, "No, Bill, I've never asked you this question." He just looked at him.
Yeah. It got worse. I mean, it really did. It just got worse and worse.
And worse and worse.
However, I'm gonna jump into 10 where I think Kraft really stepped up.
Yeah.
Brady was very, very displeased and angered to it. Really bothered him at home and everywhere he went because he came there as a young man, building his career. So he spent his whole career there. So that's all he knew. But when Grizel and Brady and the family went over to see Kraft, and they kind of let it all out, Kraft really took him under his wing and kind of cushioned some of the stuff that he could, which allowed Brady to still function and get to where he needed to, right to the point where he decided he wanted to be traded.
Yeah.
And then Kraft said, "Hey, if that's what you want, then I'll make it happen." And
Robert Kraft, if you hear this, kudos to you for managing the situation and putting up with Belichick's all of that came with Bill Belichick as your coach as you tried to manage it because you had a good situation. And if you could just get Bill to work in there, but that was never going to happen. But you still won 6 Super Bowls beyond that. But Robert, I think you got to get humanitarian of the decade. It's longer than a decade. Humanitarian of the whatever.
20-year humanitarian.
20-year humanitarian award dealing
funny,
with putting up with everything that had to
it's
happen.
funny because if you go back to the very beginning, he always credits Michael Jackson for becoming the owner of the Patriots. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
No.
No,
Oh,
yeah, he credits Michael Jackson when he did that victory tour over the Schaefer Stadium.
it killed the
Yeah, they had to
Sullivans.
sell it, but Victor Kiam had, he was the owner of the team at that time, and it sunk them on that victory tour, and Robert Kraft, the local business mogul, came in and saved it and kept the team from moving to St. Louis, kept them right there in New England. I mean, the story is amazing. So Robert Kraft, I think this.
Let's just go through that. I mean, that they sunk the Jacksons killed the Sullivans who backed it to us. So he ended up buying the stadium from the Sullivans. Kiam was the owner of the Patriots, but he controlled Kiam because he controlled the stadium and the parking lot and everything around it. So that was a heck of a move. I think we talked about that I don't know how long ago, but I think we talked about that was a heck of a move by him.
Very good
Yeah.
businessman.
Very good
businessman.
He
Hey,
did.
only thing I'm gonna say about Kraft, you go back and get your ring from Putin.
All thing's gonna happen, baby. I think Putin is taking off better rings from bigger people than even you,
Hey,
Bobby.
look, we would be remiss if we didn't speak on how divided the locker room had become. Even with Brady having a MAGA hat in his locker, we would be remiss if we didn't.
No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't be remiss because I don't think any politics had anything to do with what was happening in that locker room between Belichick and
Listen,
Brady.
we're not talking. See, there you go. There you go with the MAGA narrow view again. We're talking about what was actually.
No, there's no marrow.
Well,
you know what? I think MAGA hats should be worn by everybody. Make America great again. How's that? Okay, they should be worn by everybody. And I'm tired of all these so-called black people who think that they're going to put down MAGA just for the heck of it. No, MAGA has not destroyed anybody's locker room. It was destroyed by Belichick.
First of all, no one said anything about black people. And if you're going to wear a MAGA hat, make it a blue MAGA hat. Second of all, you can't dispute what the players actually said. So no one's making this up. The players were talking about how they felt. They said it was thick tension in the air.
Wait a minute.
Let him finish. Let him
Yeah,
make his point.
they said it was thick tension in the air. They understood that everybody had their rights and, to believe what they wanted to believe. But they were also starting to understand how different everybody was, and they still banded together to play for the common good of the organization. That's what I'm talking about. We're not talking about bringing in this whole tension because you did this for Trump. That's not where I'm going with that. But I think it was a whole lot to get through all that tension because you got to remember, this was a time when it wasn't just their locker room. The country was going through a lot.
Let me add on to that. So we got to understand when you're under stress, anything that you are not pleased with will add more stress. You agree with that? So if they were already stressed out, that was just another add. I can look around the room and be pissed at that color on the wall.
Yeah.
I can look over here and be pissed at him because he's got a bald head
and wear the MAGA hat.
But that was just another stepping stone of drama that was going to unfold as time went on because it was just a long run. It was a long run, and there was so many implosions that happened. And it just got constant and regular until that they got to blow that team up.
I don't think that. I agree, but I really don't think that's the issue. What I think is that these directors that come from these, Apple TV, Apple whatever, these liberal mindsets always have to find something to throw something in it with politics. Now, I mean, when I'm out there and when I used to play basketball and shooting on the court, the last thing I'm thinking about is anything to do with politics. Matter of fact, when I'm practicing, the last thing I'm thinking about is anything to do with politics. And I'm kind of a political animal in a sense, but they always attribute everything because they're always trying to put that into people's minds that there's so much tension between us that has to do with politics. They push the narrative. They put the narrative there and then they push it. I don't think it's as much as they push it, but that's what they like to have because they like us being divided.
Well, I don't think you can dispute what the actual players spoke about in that document.
But who put the question to them?
I'm sorry.
Okay, then They put the guy put the question to him. I doubt that they came out and said, you know what? There was so much happening. I'm sure the director came out there and said, now, what do you think about this?
Oh, that may have been the case, but
I know it was the
that's the way
case.
you do a documentary. You have to ask.
No, you don't have to bring politics into a documentary. You had enough with this stupid Belichick moves and what he was doing. I mean, see, and this is what I'm talking about. The whole divisive thing, always putting people at odds with situations. It's not even necessary. It had nothing to do with the football game. It had nothing to do with what was happening with the
I
Patriots.
don't think it would be much of a big deal if everybody.
Okay, well, listen, it's a big deal. If you want to believe that, then go for it. But we need to move on to something else because I'm not going to discuss this.
Fellas,
what
we're
they're doing
at
with that.
19 minutes. 19 minutes.
You know,
left,
because
and
it gets
I don't
stupid, and
wanna
I'm so
go-
tired
I
of
don't
this
wanna
stupid
go
stuff.
past without running into the Celtics.
Wow. Okay.
About
Let's move on to the green instead of the.
the green.
Right, instead of the MAGA hat.
Oh
So-
my!
the
goodness.
Celtics.
Hey. Somebody didn't have their coffee this morning.
Somebody had some coffee this morning.
Maybe
Me.
too much.
I mean, because we got to stop allowing these people to divide us, guys. I mean, just because they want to do it and they bring this up doesn't mean it was what it was. It's what they're trying to make it to be.
But again, he was talking about what players.
Yeah,
we get it. But we're moving on
listen.
to
The
the
thing
Celtics.
is, you made a comment about liberals and everything. We're not talking about politics. We're talking about the actual documentary. That's all we're talking about.
Okay, you want me to say that?
No.
Which side of the spectrum do you think that this director lined up on? That's my point. Okay, so then there's nothing else to talk about. If that's the case, then it is what it is.
But do you know?
I don't.
Why did you ask the question?
I didn't ask the question. I asked you the question. You couldn't answer.
Neither can you.
I did answer the question.
So he lines up on.
Can we get on the Celtics, fellas? Can we one more time? Can we get on the Celtics? We had 17 minutes. What are we doing at the Celtics? If the Celtics continue to hit their 3-point shots going into the playoffs, they'll be great. However, we know in 7 games, there's no way that they're going to be point on all the 3-point shooting. So what will they do when their 3-point shooting night is a bad night? How do they handle it? What are they going to do? We got a lot of teams out there. Denver, we got a lot of teams out there that's going to give us havoc if we come out there thinking we're going to fire threes all night for 7 games or less.
They're going to go face first into the ground because you can't live by the 3. You can't live by the 3.
So who's that? Is that Missoula or is that Brad Stevens?
Well, I think, it's going to have to do more with the team. You guys have to recognize who are the 3-point shooters, the real 3-point shooters on the team. And we have 2 guys, Tatum and Brown, who are the freelancers and the creative guys on the team, but they have to realize they're not the best 3-pointers on the team.
I do a little bit of effort, like you said a couple of episodes ago, that they seem to be playing a more balanced game. They're trying to focus. They're trying to pound inside sometimes, just depending on whether or not that's the focus of that game plan. I saw it more, this season than I ever saw it last season. So I don't know. Maybe there's a different. To me, I think they'll be okay, but Denver's going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah, well, they Brown has done a lot better this year. He does go to the hole more often than not. Tatum still bounces too much.
Yep.
And he relies on that 3 a little bit too much. But
contested threes.
But he knows he can go to the hole on the average player. So there's no reason why. And then nobody blocks out. Nobody gets rebounds. Everybody's just hoping that 3, and nobody's going to go past the 3-point line before they even throw the 3 up.
And it's really going to tell on the team because Brown and Tatum are the leaders. And if they start shooting contested threes when they don't have to, I mean, because they can move the ball around. They're going to find Al Horford, Jrue Holiday, or Sam Hauser, or somebody, Derek White, who's going to be unguarded, who can shoot an open 3 and be successful. But I'm still seeing Brown and Tatum shoot contested threes when there's no reason to.
Yeah.
I mean, like Brown the other night, he was like, "Yo, they disrespected me. Nobody got at me at the 3-point line, so I throw them up." And that's when you should.
That's when you should.
But if you're being contested, no. If there's two people on you, somebody's open. Move the ball. Keep moving the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, we should stay stagnant for nobody. We got the speed, we got the bench, so when you're tired, somebody else can come in for you. So there's no reason for them not to go 100 miles an hour all 4 quarters.
Yeah. I think that they're on cruise control, man. I don't see anybody right now in the East that's going to be a problem. Obviously, they're not going to just cakewalk through to the Eastern Conference Champ. They're going to have some stumbling blocks. They're going to have some resistance, but I do believe that they will easily make it at least to the Eastern Conference Finals. At that point, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know whether or not Milwaukee's going to figure it out. We don't know whether or not
Or Miami.
I'm not worried about Miami like I was last year. I think we got through that. I know there's the biggest difference is the coaching. We know that for certain. Spoelstra's a much better coach than Mazzulla, no doubt about it, and that's a factor. But I'm not worried about them as much as I am about Milwaukee figuring it out.
I'd say if we've already noticed that Brown and Tatum have shoot contested threes, Pat Riley's going to goad them into it, and it could be problems if they meet Miami because they have to be under control, and that's the whole thing. He's gonna make you do the things. He's gonna goad you to do the things that you shouldn't do, and he's gonna goad them into shooting contested threes. And if these guys fall for it, it won't be long before they're down two games or so, and then things are going to start getting tight. So they need to correct this. I'm not going to say that. I think the Celtics should win it if they correct these mistakes. And if they don't correct these mistakes, I don't know if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
But what makes you think they're going to correct anything? I mean, these were glaring things last year.
But this year they have done some things differently.
Right.
So you see Tatum go into the hole more than you've seen him last year. Same thing with Brown. And you see that they got a lot more ball control where they're not losing the ball as many times they did last year.
Yeah.
So they are correcting some things. And as a whole, everyone, moves the ball well when they're moving it.
When they're moving the ball.
So they get back on defense when they're playing defense. So these are all the ifs you do. So if you do what you know how to do, they'll be fine. So they've shown some different looks, done some things differently on the court, which equals them winning that particular night. But then they'll come right back the next night and act like they didn't learn nothing yesterday.
Play free ball.
Yeah.
Play free ball. Free ball. The team is so good right now that what the roles that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown used to fill, they're not needed to fill those roles anymore.
Right.
The only thing they have to do is be good, solid players. They don't have to freelance on their own anymore. They can, but they're not required to in order for the team to win. They're quick enough, they're strong enough, they're fast enough to make entries into the hoop, get to the rim, and get the fouls. But they're no longer needed to freelance and have to do fadeaway jump shots and the way they used to have to do
there are
it.
times that you can watch the Celtics play and don't even realize that Tatum's on the court.
Yeah.
You'd be like, wow, is he even out there?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. They got so many people that can actually be the star for that moment or that quarter or that game. You can look and say, okay, well, who's on the floor? You're like, okay, who walked off, who came on? And I'm like, they're a deep team. I just don't see anybody over 7 games beating them. They're not. I don't think they're going to sweep anyone. I just don't.
Yeah.
But I don't think 7 games with the team like this. This team is built. I give Brad Stevens credit for building this team. We'll see whether or not, it. We'll see. We'll see the result. But honestly, it's boring watching right now because they're stacking wins. They're up by 9 games in the East. It's like there's nobody gonna
9.5.
Can't correct it.
I don't think they're boring. I think when they move the ball, I like seeing Pritchett and Holiday and Derek White, get their game off. I like the way
They're
I like the way they put it together when they actually move the ball.
Their commodity is real good.
They're really
they're
good.
not boring. They're not boring to watch. It's just boring. I mean, there's no drama. It's like you're like, okay, all right. You know,
When we don't have no drama, you look for drama. Is that
no,
what
you
it
know,
is?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
I-
We got no news of stuff going on in the locker room. We got nobody in the news. We got nobody that got locked up. We got nobody that's showing a gun on YouTube.
Right.
So what are you talking about, man?
I mean, I'm fine with this no drama.
I'm good with it.
I just want to see what they do on the court. I want to see them improve. I want to see them get their rest. Porzingis hasn't played in 2 or 3 games. I'm glad. I wish they sit Tatum down for 5 games, claim he had the injury, heal or something, and sit him down, because to me, he's not moving the same way. I think Brown's fresher. I think all the other guys are fresher, and I'd like to see them go in that direction. I also work in Tillman and Jaden Springer, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
Work them in.
And Tillman's out there a lot.
Yeah, get these people playing. I'd like to see that. But I think they're exciting. I like watching when they play really good.
no, they're
I'm watching when they playing bad. I just like them, and I want to see them fix their. I want them to go through their woes now. Go through the woes
Get
before the
beat now.
playoffs. Yeah, get beat and make the mistakes now, but make the corrections as well.
Become more disciplined.
Yeah,
I don't buy into that lose now and so we can learn later. At this point, these guys, it's too late in the season. Just crush. Get you crushing everybody. That's what I want you to do. Yeah,
Okay.
No.
Do we have any news on the Bruins front? How about the Bruins? Has it been who's that new guy that they got? Who's the new big guy that they got? Gosh, has there been any sightings of him on any type of ice? Because he came in, he was already injured from a back surgery, and I don't think he's going to play this. I can't figure this out. But they went out and really got another guy that's pretty good. But Pat Maroon, they brought in Pat Maroon. He was already injured, and he's not going to play, I don't think, into the playoffs. But who knows if he's going to be ready by then. They brought in another guy who's fairly good. What do we have to say about the Bruins? Because are they going to be a regular season team again?
I hope not, but I can honestly tell you that being down here in Atlanta, in the NHL, it's hard. One, there's no NHL team here. And then number 2, the NHL doesn't do enough to promote a lot of they're nothing like the NBA or NFL. So it's when you want to see a hockey game and it's out of market, boy, you do better looking for a needle in a haystack.
You're right. They don't have a team. What's the closest team? I think that Jacksonville got the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe the Panthers or the there's you're right. Florida teams. Is it 2 teams in Florida?
I think it's 2 teams in Florida because they have one in Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay Lightning.
They got the Lightning, and then they got the Panthers. But other than that, I mean, there's not a team within. Wait a minute. There's a team in Carolina. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't want to. The Carolina is it the Hurricanes.
That's a good question. We're showing our lack of hockey knowledge here.
Yes, that I did. Yeah. So Carolina, and they're actually a good team. Come on, guys, help me out here.
No, wait a minute.
Carolina's they're second place.
Yeah, but it's just hard to find those. It's hard to find them because if you're not in that market, it's hard. So you have to have like either the NHL network to find these things because they just don't put a lot of teams. TBS lately is starting to put some on, or TNT, excuse me. I guess it's getting closer towards the end of the season.
All right, so
the Bruins are in second place though.
Yeah, they faltered a tad bit, but they were running away with it earlier.
Yeah, they were running away. I mean, what happened to these guys?
I just know it just by watching. Because you guys know I'm the ultimate sports guy, so I know all these things until Clay gets me flustered. And
what? How did I get into this?
Mentions names that I don't know. I'm like, what? No, Maroon. Oh God, let me go back and dig a little bit. You threw me.
Yeah, they added Pat Maroon. He's a big burly dude.
You got me a little shaking a little bit. Now, same thing with the Red Sox. I mean, they're doing things. I don't know what they're doing, so I'm gonna have to dig a little bit on it with the Red Sox.
All right, we're down to our last 5 minutes.
Wait a minute, they added a guy named Pete too.
Pete.
This is the guy that's pretty good. I forget his name, first name, but Peak. Take a peek at him. Andrew Peak came from Columbus. So 25-year-old guy. They actually got a young guy. The Bruins actually went out and got a young guy, not some old over-the-hill guy at the end of the trade deadline. They went out and got a young guy who might help them. This might get them, not just, we know they're going to make the playoffs, but maybe they'll be able to make it out the first round because they've had some first-round exits, like last year when they were supposedly had such a great team out in the first round.
All right, we're down to our last 4 minutes, fellas. So I think we need to start wrapping up on our last sayings. We'll start with Clay.
Bill Belichick, the Patriots dynasty should be the Tom Brady dynasty. It should be the Tom Brady dynasty, and the Patriots way should be the Tom Brady way. Tom Brady made the Patriots a winner. Belichick was here the year before, had probably a 4-13 record. I think it was 5-11. And when Brady comes in, all of a sudden he becomes a great head coach. After Brady leaves, he becomes the same coach that he was. It was Tom Brady all the way. Tom, thank you very much for the 20 years you were here. We can't thank you enough.
All right, Magic, go ahead.
Oh, wow. You got me following this guy? I don't know what to say. I think, Tom Brady deserves a lot. And I just don't want to take away from the contributions that Bill Belichick, made. I just don't know what else to say. I don't want to stir anything else up. I don't.
All right. Well, I think the dynasty, just them actually putting that out was a very informative situation, and we could see lots of angles, and some of us saw things differently. Well, that's the way it goes sometimes. Some things they come out different to different people. But I think overall, the two top players there was Brady and Kraft, because there was someone to kind of break the ice when things got real rough. So beginning, it was great. Tom learned a lot. Bill did his part. As a team, they grew, and then they start to falter, which always happens because if you're winning too much, everybody hates you.
They hate you.
If you're not winning, everybody hates you. So
darned if you do, darned if you don't.
The hate is all the way around the room. So it was a pleasure being in a city that have winning teams, and we've been to several parades as officers, and now we can wait and see when the next parade go. Maybe we'll go as a civilian. And
yeah, we will
stand back.
Definitely as civilians
and watch the pride. Keep the pride, keep it all going. Because it's just good. But we got to see that 20-year dynasty that many other teams have.
Well, they're never going to get a 20-year dynasty.
Yeah,
they might get a 10, 12-year dynasty. I'm looking at the Chiefs. They might be able to accomplish that in 10 to 15 years, but it's not going to be 20 years. Andy Reid's not lasting that long.
Nah, I don't. His health don't look like it's doing that great either.
So the 20-year, it was so many great times. So, I guess, thank you, Robert Kraft. Thank you, Tom Brady. And for that cameo appearance that we had to deal with that curmudgeon, Bill Belichick, I guess we have to throw him in there too. You can't have an angel without a devil.
Wow. Somebody had a whole lot of sugar this morning, man. We got to watch Saturday, man.
I'm being listen, guys. He won with Bruce. Tom Brady won with Bruce Arians. All right, we're going to come down to saying a prayer before we get off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just work together as people and get over any type of divisions that other people try to get us into. Work together because we're here together. We're going to make it together or we're going to lose together. And that's the way we work as a team. Either we're going to win or we're going to lose. So we need to start learning to work together, everybody. And that includes for everybody in the inner city, especially Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta. Let's work together and try to reduce a lot of the stress rates that we're having and a lot of the violence rates that we're having. Work together.
Go Celtics. Go Celtics.
Go Celtics.
These rappers gon' sell they soul. I don't care if they hate me. This the life I chose. Jay-Z mocking Christ with his new movie. One day he gon' pay. You won't catch me partying with Diddy. I ain't TD Jakes. And Kurt Franklin's getting called the LGBT cause he fake. I was in Tokyo getting in them scriptures. You can go ask Jay. Hey, real.
Get uplifted, rooted and established with the Word. AM 590